In a remote village nestled among sprawling mountains, there lived a young man named Leo. Known for his bravery and strong physique, Leo excelled in physical skills, surpassing all the other young men in his village. Everyone admired him, but he was arrogant, believing that his strength alone was enough to get him through life. He often dismissed the advice of the elders, mocking them when they urged him to think carefully before acting, saying, "What use is the mind when you have strength?" One day, a stranger arrived in the village with exciting news. He spoke of a hidden treasure buried deep within a dark and dangerous forest called the Black Forest. This forest had a notorious reputation, filled with wild beasts and natural traps, and no one dared to venture into it. But Leo, with his excessive confidence, decided to go alone to find the treasure and prove to everyone that his strength was all he needed. Leo prepared for the journey, carrying only some food and a sharp knife. He didn't bring a map or any navigation tools. When one of the village elders tried to dissuade him, saying, "Son, the real treasure is wisdom, and the mind is the true ornament of a person. Think carefully before you act." Leo laughed and replied, "The mind is nothing compared to my strength." Leo set out early the next morning. When he reached the edge of the forest, a sense of unease crept over him. The trees were dense, and the sounds of wild animals echoed around him. Still, he brushed off his fear and marched forward. At first, the path seemed manageable, but soon he faced challenges. As he crossed a muddy swamp, his foot slipped and he almost sank, barely managing to grab hold of a tree root to pull himself out. When he emerged, he was covered in mud and surrounded by swarms of mosquitoes and flies which began to attack him relentlessly. He had no way to protect himself, so he trudged on, struggling with each step. But the greatest challenge came when he ventured into a desolate area filled with traps. As he walked, hidden arrows suddenly shot out from an old mechanism. One of the arrows struck his shoulder, causing him immense pain, but he pushed forward despite the injury. After days of wandering in the forest, Leo became hungry and exhausted. His food was gone, and he could no longer tell which direction to take. He sat under a tree and began to reflect. How did I end up in this mess? I thought my strength would always save me, but here I am, weak, without a plan or a way out. As he pondered, an old man appeared from deep within the forest. The man seemed confident, carrying a staff and an old map. He approached Leo and asked, "What brought you here, young man?" Leo told him his story, confessing his arrogance and saying, "I thought strength alone was enough, but I was wrong. Now I realize that the mind is what truly saves a person." The old man smiled and said, "That is the first lesson you must learn. The mind is the true ornament of a person, and it is the key to survival and success. You've learned this the hard way, but now you are ready to change. Come, I will show you the way out." The old man guided Leo safely out of the forest, using his knowledge and map to avoid traps and dangers. When Leo returned to his village, he was a changed man, no longer arrogant about his strength. He began to listen to others' advice and plan before taking any action. Leo started sharing his story with the children and young men of the village, teaching them that strength alone is never enough and that the mind is the most valuable asset a person can have. He became wise and beloved among his people, inspiring them with the lesson that the mind is the true ornament and that thoughtfulness and wisdom are the keys to success in life.